East Texas Comic Con, how are you doing out there? One more time, how are you guys doing out there, East Texas Comic Con? It is my extreme honor and privilege to welcome our next guest. He was the first guest we actually signed for this show, believe it or not. Let's welcome to the stage Mr. Kevin Sorbo!
So, how are you going to handle this if you don't have a microphone? You can project? So, first time for me in this part of the country. Been to Texas a lot. Never been here. It's a beautiful place. It's really, really pretty. I've been at Tyler. I shot a movie. I think the Tyler Comic Con a while back. But I think like before the Hercules release, I actually shot a commercial there. And there was some kind of a man-made lake, I think, in Tyler. Am I correct? People in Tyler. And fishing. I grew up in Minnesota, so I like fishing. So my beef with Texas, because I grew up in Minnesota, here's my beef. You took my Minnesota North Stars, and 2 years later you won a Stanley Cup. We were not up that. And then you stuck us with Herschel Walker, and then you won two Super Bowls after that. That was one of the worst trades ever with the Vikings. But we've been in the Super Bowl 4 times, but like Buffalo, we're 0 for 4. So maybe eventually they'll both meet, since they're AFC and NFC. Go ahead.
Minnesota?
No, I left Minnesota years ago after college. So all 5 of us kids ended up in 5 different states. So it's.
When did you and Sam settle in Florida?
We're in Florida. We've been there 5.5 years. We're in the West Palm Beach area. So we escaped California. I know you're getting a lot of them here too. I've seen the billboards, so I'm turning Texas into California. I don't blame you.
So Kevin was this close to settling in Texas.
We were close. I was more for Dallas, Fort Worth area than my wife was. Because I fly a lot. And DFW is pretty much one way anywhere in America without. And where I live now, I've always either got to go through Charlotte on American Airlines, or I've got to go through Atlanta for Delta. So I fly a lot. What's that?
So love getting anecdotes and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I tell people.
Well, I grew up in a really small town. I grew up in about 7,000 people, so I grew up in a small town.
I was going to say that this area, the East Texas Piney Woods area, it looks different from the rest of Texas, which is west, more flat.
Well, I did a convention in Midland, Odessa. It's quite different than Were you at that one?
You guys
and a lot of oil. Which I know is all this fight to get rid of oil. So I look at people that get in my face about it, I'm pro-oil. So I get my face about it and I said, "Do you have a cell phone?" And he said, "Yeah, well then get rid of it, it's got oil in it." "Do you have a computer?" "Yeah, get rid of it." "Do you have a toothbrush?" "Well." "Do you have a hairbrush?" "Okay." "Do you have clothing?" "Okay." I think people are pretty ignorant about how much oil is used in pretty much everything.
I do the same thing with the animal rights activists, and they send laptops with dead scenes of animals. And I say, hey, you know that laptop you're holding was made by like a kid in China for like pennies. So you might want to be careful with what you're standing on there.
With oil, yeah. Too funny.
So what do you think of Texas? Tell him what you think. Because he always goes, anytime you have a show in Texas, man, he loves Texas.
I do. I love coming down. I come in there a lot. I mean, for the older Dallas Cowboy fans, I'm very good friends with Tall Ed Jones. I've been known Ed for many, many years. And every time I come out there, I go golfing with Ed at the Cowboys golf course, which was Jerry Jones' old course. I agree. I got the baby. I agree. Clapping for me already. You're very good. Very good. My kids, they grow up pretty quick. Enjoy that age.
So tell us, obviously you're very well known for Hercules and Legendary Journeys. How did you come across that role?
How did I what? Get this?
How did you come across the role of Hercules and the Legendary Journeys?
Well, when my agent first called me for that, it's a typical thing. Anything in Hollywood, whether it's TV, movies, whatever it may be, you get an audition. It's got to come through your agent. You get it. Casting directors look at a list of all the different people. I want to see him, not him, and And so when they called me on initially, I was like, I'm big. I mean, I played college football. I'm 6'3". I was 230 back then. But I thought, everyone wants a no-neck steroid guy. Not to think, I'm not saying Arnold Schwarzenegger took steroids, but anyway. But they said, no, they want a guy that's more like an NFL quarterback size guy, or maybe a decathlete. So I went in to read for it. Thought I did pretty well. They called me back again. Thought I did pretty well. Coming back in. They called me back 7 times. And I got down to the last 3 guys. I found out later they auditioned 2,800 actors in North America for the role, mostly in America and Canada. So when I got down to the last 3 guys, it was at Universal Studios in Studio City. And has anybody ever been there before? Universal? It's it's another, just like Universal out in Orlando. It's got all the rides and stuff like that. It's right in the middle of Hollywood. It's a pretty busy area. And Sam Raimi, I'm sure you know his name. He was our exec producer, and people know him from Evil Dead with Bruce Campbell, and he directed the last Doctor Strange movie. He directed that. He directed one of my favorite movies with Kevin Costner, For the Love of the Game. It's a baseball movie. It's a very good movie. I highly recommend it. So I get there, and you're on a stage like this. It's a big stage. It's like a theater. So, seats going up like that, and it probably holds about 150 to 200 people. There's like 50 people from Universal Television, everybody from Universal Television. And I walk on stage, and I look at Sam, and I said, every time I come back, nobody's giving me any direction. Nobody's telling me what to do. Nobody's giving me a new scene. It's always the same 2 scenes. And he said, we like what you do, just do it again. So I read, and then Sam kind of nudged the woman next to her and he goes, I'm supposed to be the one to ask you to take your shirt off. You remember the show? I was in pretty good shape back then. So I took my shirt off and got an interesting collection of, from some guys too, some nice remarks. And being a smart ass I am, I'm one of 4 boys in my family. I said, I'm a lot bigger with my clothes off, and I got a good laugh. And then Sam says to me, he says, if you get the role, he said, I don't got like Robin Williams hair in the back or anything, but I got a man covered, And Sam says, if you get the role, be willing to shave your chest and stomach. And I looked at him and I said, I'm sorry, I thought you wanted a man for this role. So I walked off the stage. And I got laughed. And so the next day I flew to Vancouver, Canada, to shoot an episode on The Commish. You guys remember that show with Michael Chiklis? And the 3rd day, my manager Beverly calls out and she goes, you got the role. You got the role of Hercules. So I walked back on the set and I looked at Chiklis and I said, I don't want any crap from you. I'm half God now. And the next 2 months, I spent training with Douglas Wong. Douglas Wong was one of Bruce Lee's original students. He had created, it was pretty cool. He had created his own type of self-defense called the White Lotus Kung Fu method. So we did a lot of work with that stuff, 6 hours a day with this guy, weapons, all kinds of different stuff. It was really cool. And then flew to New Zealand, because initially it was going to be 5 2-hour movies. That wasn't supposed to be. It was going to be 5 2-hour movies, that was it. And they were looking for the guy to play Zeus. And originally they went to Charlton Heston. So before I moved to New Zealand, I got to go meet Charlton Heston, which was really cool for me. And Charlton said, Kevin, I'm just not funny. I don't think I can play his role. And then, talk about an amazing second choice. I got a whole year with Anthony Quinn. I know there's a lot of young people here, but for those who don't know, Anthony Quinn was in the golden age of Hollywood as well, certainly through the 50s and 60s and into the 70s. Nominated for 6 Academy Awards, he won twice. You got Gunther Navarone, Joe the Greek, Lawrence of Arabia. I mean, the list goes on and on with this man is done. Halfway through the 3rd movie, Universal producer called and said, we're going to make a TV series. We love what we see. So we went right into production after the fifth movie into the first season 1 hour episode, which was really the second season of the series. And I know it's in a pride, but by season 3 we became the most watched TV show in the world in 176 countries. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. So it's kind of semi-long-winded story, but it was pretty cool when that came about.
What has been your takeaway when fans talk to you about this? How do you feel from when you first got into it to now, years later, the reception that you constantly get everywhere about this and how impactful it was?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, it's still in like 60 countries. It's still out there. I said there are letters coming from everywhere. But that kicked off and got Andromeda because of the success of that. And I was a big Star Trek fan, so for me to be able to be the first captain after Captain Kirk, being Captain going up was pretty amazing. But I gotta tell you, I get stopped all the time through airports, hotel lobbies. It's mostly not because of God's Not Dead, Soulship, or What If, Let There Be Light. It's really mostly from those movies now that have a good moral message. And I think, I like movies I'm doing now through Sorbo Studios that have hope and love and laughter. And I think we need hope more than anything in the world right now. The world's gone crazy. I never thought we'd be where we are right now with what's going on with our schools and universities and our media. Disney's looking at over $1 billion loss last year because people are waking up saying they're tired of these old movies. We just want to be entertained, and I'm just hoping to keep making movies that have a good message instead of a negative one.
It's like the small town values, that's why I do a lot of shows in smaller towns. Kevin always does great in them, the fans love them, and it's one of those where simple home people, are often overlooked in media, and I know I'm very appreciative of the content you put out recently with God's Not Dead, stuff like that. What's it like putting out content like that now? How does it feel now as a father or husband to put out wholesome content like that?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of people are doing that. A lot of independent movies, whether it's the Kenneth Brothers or Irwins, there's a lot of people in the independent world are putting out more of a product. They estimate 80 million homes want the kind of movies that we're doing in this independent world. Hollywood doesn't want to help promote them whatsoever. I don't fit into Hollywood that well. I never really did. And I think that kind of shows up with things like most. Facebook took me down. I had 4 million followers 3 years ago. Facebook took me down because with Zuckerberg and his minions hate the truth. You can't have the truth out there. The truth is like kryptonite to Hollywood. And then on Twitter, you call me on Twitter in case stories. I do very sarcastic tweets. They're funny. It's so easy to just trigger people. I sort of enjoy it. I don't care. Some care for backlash. One of the things I posted on Twitter when everything I was saying about COVID came true, I said I need more conspiracy theories because everything I said came true. So I just posted one yesterday for all these college students riding. It's already got like 600,000 hits in the first half a day. I said you better keep your tents because you're going to need them after graduation.
It's funny because this is, I've worked with Kevin for a couple of years now. This is really surreal because I was a huge fan of Hercules and Legendary Hercules. And I was a fan of Andromeda. So what's great is talking to him, he has some celebrity, some fame. He's absolutely wonderful fan. Raise your hand if you already talked to Kevin at his room. Raise your hand. He's just great to hear. And what I love about what he does for us is he makes every fan feel like they're important while he's talking. No one else exists. There's a huge crowd, and he's talking to great reality. And that's the wholesome respectful values that we should be promoting in this country. This world, unfortunately, we get away from that. But what's it like now that your kids are older now, and they're getting into stuff that they're into now? What's it like being in Hollywood as an actor, now being a father, observing and supervising your kids?
Well, we're homeschool advocates. My wife's a homeschooler. She travels the country with homeschooling. She's got a number of books on the project. I'm homeschooling. The first one's still my favorite. It's called They're Your Kids. They don't belong to school. They don't belong to the government. It does not take a village to raise kids. It takes parents that care. And so, that's the kind of stuff that we've been doing and stuff we want to do. Look, I shoot 3 to 5 movies a year. I've already shot 2 this year, 3 more lined up. I'm actually shooting back in my home state. I don't know if it'll stay with it, but it's kind of fun for me because I haven't shot back in Minnesota since my commercial days. And It's a car racing movie. It's called Speed Shift, and it's a pretty cool movie. And we're shooting the Brandon racetrack. There's Paul Newman, when he was racing a lot. He used to race up there quite a bit. But my kids have been growing up on movie sets since they were that age. They're not intimidated by being on set. And then my kids, at a younger age, said they wanted to act. I put them in acting classes for 3 years. Now my oldest, my 22-year-old, on his 8th movie, shooting in Virginia as we speak. And Shane, my second oldest, he and I just did a Christmas movie in Granbury. You guys know Granbury? Yeah. We shot during December. The lights are amazing. So it's a Christmas movie, so it's perfect to shoot there. And that should be coming out this coming November as well, based on true stories. So they're just staying busy. I love it. To me, it's like, do what you want to do. I mean, as long as you, really bust yourself and do it. One thing I learned, not from only my parents, because my parents were very, you work hard, don't expect handouts to work hard. They were very sort of strict with all 5 of those kids. There's a caveat this country, but I didn't money. But I was a school teacher, 4 or 5 kids. My clothes were hand-me-downs when I was older. But I never thought it out. I had parents that cared and loved us. And shoes like parents. They were about being clean for this life, but they were parents. And the Cadets Private Country Club for 2 summers when I was in college. And all these guys really wealthy guys. The kind of money I never could possibly dream of. And I would ask everyone, how did you become successful? And every one of them said, I failed. And I failed again. Oh, by the way, I failed even more. And I realized failure is a positive thing. And failure is something two people quit after the failure. So you don't quit, you keep going. You learn from failure, you learn from no. There's good and bad from both those things, and get rid of that and move on with the good you learn from that. And that was huge for me. So I tell people all the time, I'm a 13-year-old in success. So, you got to put your time in. And everything in Hollywood, in most industries, but Hollywood, everything's about rejection. To begin with, you're going to be too old, too young, too this, too that. Also, come up with a reason not to pass you. But I was very fortunate to work my butt off and didn't give up. And I got my place in the game, and I took it down. But to me, I tell kids all the time, don't let anyone set your limitations, especially yourself. And, God never promised me an easy life. There's always going to be roadblocks. How do you act that roadblock? Blame the world? Blame the God? Blame the guy you don't believe in? Blame the family, friends, the world? No. I would say cute Michael Jackson song, The Man in the Mirror. Look in the mirror, there's your problem. That's where it starts. Make a decision. Every time anything went bad for me, I got down perception. So that's what my kids do. She'll say, it happened, what are you going to do about it? And that was always the kickstart for me to say, yeah, you're right. I'm going to do something good about it and not be crying and moaning about it. So, yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. I got 2 movies coming out in the fall, in August actually. One is a true story, and it's based on a prison in Indonesia. And I play a guy that's then not going to go back to his 20s. He can't really look like I'm in my 20s anymore, but the backstory is there. He was surfing in Indonesia, saw his girlfriend, took his son down the beach, he got off his board, and he killed her down the fight. He got arrested, got life sentence, got the death penalty in an Indonesian prison. During those 30 years in prison, he found God, he became a pastor. He saved a lot of inmates' lives and guards' lives, but he was just executed in 2013. He still got the death penalty. The other movie's the Ronald Reagan movie. Dennis Quaid's going to play President Reagan, I play his pastor. That comes on August as well. They have 2 documentaries coming out as well later in the year around Christmas time. And they're very interesting documentaries. One deals with the Last Supper, it's called Eating with the Enemy. And the other one is spent 3 weeks in Israel. I got 1 more week in Israel. We'll see what happens. I know there's a war going on. So, but I got 1 more week, but it deals with playing for archaeological piece. We trace the flow of the Ark of the Covenant. That's called in the rest of the throne of God. So it's interesting. It's an education for me as well. So we're going to keep doing these movies. I like these movies. I'm heading to Bratislava, Slovakia, and doing a Game of Thrones type of movie there. And then I've got another Christmas movie that we might shoot in California. I'm trying to talk to director out of it because he lives in Florida. I said, let's avoid California. Let's shoot it in the States. Exactly. We'll see what happens.
So you have a movie called The Miracle in East Texas, which is basically, this whole East Texas is the setting.
It's in the Kilgore area.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that movie and who's in it.
True story. It's a great one. I directed it. It was in theaters last year. And it's from 1930. It's a true story about 2 con men, played by myself and John Ratzenberger. Everybody knows John has played for the shoes. And all this, and you go to the family, of course, you know, from all the Pixar movies, he's the pigs in Toy Story, he's the Reba fishing, you know, he's the trucking cars, he's in every single Pixar movie. And we played two conmen that went through Oklahoma, Texas, right in the heart of the Depression in 1930, and they would woo widows out of their money on fake oil wells. Not only did they do that, make it worse, they would sell 500% of their shares. And they strike oil in Texas by accident. Ends up being the largest oil fund in the history of the world. So John Ratzenberg is in Title Maine, and people know him as the wrestler, as well as the Jason on movies. Lou Gossett Jr., rest in peace, dear friend. He does a wonderful job as well. My wife's doing a great job. And it was Dan Gordon wrote it. Dan Gordon's an Oscar-nominated writer. Dan wrote he was nominated for Best Screenplay. He wrote for Denzel Washington, The Hurricane. He wrote Lighter, Kevin Conner's movie. He wrote 60 episodes of Highway to Heaven. Great writer. I've got 3 more descriptions on it. There's money for right now. But it's a wonderful, funny family movie, PG rated. But it is a true story about these 2 guys. And of course they were arrested, and there's a court case with them and stuff. But they were real con men. And Ratzenberg is hilarious. I highly recommend getting it. I thought I would have a bunch from here, but I just went to a film festival in Orlando 2 days ago, and I had about 20 of those movies. All the movies went that one day I was in town. So you can go to Sorbo Studios and get an autographed copy, or you can go online and see it. It's Miracles, Texas. You guys would really like it. It's a lot of fun.
So what are some of your favorite projects that you've done more recently that maybe haven't gotten as much attention as some of your more popular titles that you really enjoy?
The battle with independent movies is how do you get them out there? Hollywood has $300 million foreign movies and adventure movies, and they have a $100 million advertising budget. So they put a commercial on every sitcom, every sporting event, every soap opera, so you just get inundated with the trailers and movies. I didn't know because God's Not Dead, which was an anomaly. It was a $2 million movie, but the word of mouth in it was just stupid. It was amazing. The movie made $140 million. I didn't know the movie, otherwise I'd be doing happy. I got paid in that budget of $2 million with 80 people in the crew members all attached to it. But there's a movie I did prior to that called What If, which I think is a better movie. Same writers, Chuck and Kerry did that one. They did Unplanned, the abortion movie, and the most recent one's called Nefarious, with Sean Patrick Flander, who's good buddy now. And these guys are really great. But What If in my book, I try to rate 7 movies for who's counting. It's in my top 3, there's no question.
Yeah, Christy Swanson, right?
Christy Swanson's in it as well. She's great. And that was directed by Dallas Jenkins. If you know the name, he's doing The Chosen right now. He's the main writer and director of that.
Tell us a little bit about What If. What is it about?
What
the premise of the movie? Yeah.
Well, it's I play a guy that leaves my fiance and say I'll be back. Don't worry, I'm going on this mission for 1 year and I'll be back. Well, you fast forward 15 years later, I never went back to it. That's Christy Swanson. So I basically left her at the altar. And now I'm a takeover specialist. I'm the guy that comes in when companies are in trouble buying for pennies on the dollar. I got one who basically buy electro movies, and I'm the one who makes a lot of money off destroying other people's businesses, even though they're about to be destroyed anyway. And I get visited by, once again, John Ratzenberg, who plays a mighty smart-ass angel. He comes down from heaven and gives me a what if, but God has chosen me to give a what if. Now I'm going, I don't believe number one is an angel. And I said, we're talking about it. He said, well, you're supposed to be in this road. This is the road God intended you, but I like the road I'm on. So it's like a reverse, it's a wonderful road. Also like the Nicolas Cage movie with some dude that was wrong, the Nicolas Cage kind of like that. And I had no choice but to go, and I go to this bilateral universe world to find out that I'm actually a pastor married to Christy Swanson with 2 daughters. And hilarity does ensue. It's quite interesting. I mean, actually, I'm in that world for like 10 minutes and find out that I'm a pastor, and it's Sunday and I'm supposed to give a sermon. So he gets up, I look in his congregation, and he's still trying to figure out what am I doing here? And everybody's just staring at him, and I just go, make more money and you'll be happy. So he doesn't know what to do with it. But he learns as it goes along, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's an interesting movie. The movie got awards like the movies that, I guess they're favorite, but family-friendly movies. And that movie won the best movie of the year that came out, like the movie that year. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, so I I highly recommend that movie as well. There's some I don't recommend. I tried 87 with your cousin. I wish I didn't do. But you know, you don't go on going, well, it's not going to suck, is it? You know, so, but I would. There's some I would recommend. But sometimes just doing as a favor with them. That's kind of what that comes down to sometimes. When you see up and we're doing it. But I just finished a movie in Lynchburg, Virginia, with a bunch of students at Liberty University. It's a pretty cool little independent movie. So we'll see what happens with it. It's called The Precipice. It won't be out for a while. I do have 2 movies in post-production right now that are completely different from without a problem. One is a zombie versus aliens. And I play sheriff of this town after the apocalypse, and it's pretty funny. And then the other one, I play a 700-year-old vampire, which is a blast. And both of them are comedies. Both of them are comedies. So if you like Zombieland, go ahead for Zombie versus Aliens. I love Zombieland. That was the Woody Harrelson, the really pretty fun. So yeah, so I've been fortunate to keep busy and keep doing stuff. I've got a number of films I'm trying to raise money for right now, but that's the hardest part in the independent feature world. But I'm still making them, still staying busy, and like I said, I got 2 coming out this year, 2 documentaries, 4 right now in post-production, and then the other ones, I just shot 2 over this year, so I guess you could say 6 in post-production, but still filming so many movies. And then I've got the prequels that I'm filming this year, so it's a busy year.
It's great that you're staying busy putting out really wholesome great content. So, what can we expect from Kevin Sorbo here in the future? What would you like your legacy acting to be when it's all said?
Well, look, I'm not retired. I'm Clint Eastwood's hero. He's 93 years old. He's still directing movies. So I'm going to keep on making movies until I go down. I mean, it's still too much fun. I still love the industry, still being part of the business. I pick out about 6 of these a year to do. These Comic-Cons, I get invited a lot, but I don't have time to pick them all. Javier is a good friend. He does the smaller markets, I think smaller markets as well. I do enough for the big market, which is crazy. Sometimes you get 175,000 people or something. Towns that you go to, in Salt Lake City or Dragon Town or something. But I like mixed up. I just did one in Prague, which is pretty cool. I shot a movie in Prague years ago, so I took one of my boys in that. And usually I've been Brady. Brady's great on all this. He's like such a salesman at the table. He's hilarious. And but yeah, I still like, you know, I still enjoy doing these. I like to travel, and sometimes it's a little too much. I've got over 1 million miles in all 3 major airlines. That's what American and that's a lot of miles. So the flight coming in here was really scary. I know you said some people had trouble getting in Dallas, and I came in yesterday. I got my computer, looked at the radar, and over the front of Louisiana, and just massive storms. I got over 35 degrees, and I was like, man, we were bounced. And the woman next to me, Steve, she doesn't, is this normal? She don't fly much? She said, no, I don't. I said, I fly a lot. This isn't normal being this bad. So I had a hard time putting in the earlier, but you know, you want to say a prayer with me. It was nerve-wracking. It was nerve-wracking, but you know, we're here. But I don't know. Pardon?
I was thinking, again, guys, after the I mean, the fans have been great. The guests all love you guys, but I mean, they went through a lot to get here. Trust me, we ended up all night, none of us had slept. You know, we were rearranging flights, doing things like this isn't easy, and the attendance from the show, and we're all here to see all the best we have. So you guys deserve a round of applause for. I mean, I really appreciate what you guys have done. But I mean, it's very important when we do these conventions in the future. These are incredibly busy people. They take time out of their busy schedules to be around us, and they're very quality, great people, man. So we really appreciate having them.
I got to mention this Hollywood, but I'm doing a lot of these conventions. I do the same things happen here. People come to the table and ask me if I've got any potential guys out there, whatever, so I put together with another guy the first really faith and family convention. It's going to be in Sevierville, Tennessee, just below Knoxville, right next to Dollywood, Dollywood Park Place, and it's going to be at the end of this month. It's May 30th, 31st, and June 1st. And I know it's way too low, but if you want to come on out, we got John Schneider's going to be there, Carly Burnson, Dean Hamm, Christian Swanson's going to be there, John Rathmoody's going to be there.
Rise Con, right? Rise Con.
It's called Rise Up Convention. RiseUpCon.com. You can check it out and get all the information. It's a charity golf event as well. We got some of the Tennessee Color players coming up in the Predators and our team, and all the celebrities will be here. Neil McDonald just had to pull out. Neil was going to be here, and then Neil, if you don't know, you know he was doing so many things. So he got to lead opposite of Stallone's new series. What's it called? You guys know this series? What is it? The what king?
Tulsa King.
Tulsa King. So he's playing opposite of him. He's playing the bad guy again. And Neil and I are trying to raise money right now for the Western that he wrote his writing part of it. It's phenomenal. It's called The Wicked and Righteous. It will be R-rated. It's Yellowstone volume, like the BBC series, but it's a Cain and Abel story. And Neil told me, he said, dude, you're the bad brother. You die in this movie, not me, because I've died 51 times. It's been killed 51 times in the TV show. Kevin Costner killed him on their last episode of the Yellowstone season, 3 or 4 whatever. But Neil's a great guy to work with. I think the first time I ever saw him before tonight was with Band of Brothers, which was a very good movie. And I've known Neil ever since then. He's just a class act.
So what is the difference between acting in movies and acting in television series for you? What's the difference? Which do you prefer?
Well, movies are much slower. We're on time. Television, if you're in an hour, if you're in a sitcom, it's heaven. Because seriously, as an actor, I mean, you know, if some shoot on Tuesday, some shoot on Friday. If you're shooting your live episode on Friday for a live audience, Mondays are week two for 2 hours, Tuesdays maybe 4 hours, Wednesdays maybe 6 hours, Thursday's a much longer day, and then Friday, of course, is a really long day before you film for a live audience. But I love sitcoms. I've done quite a few of them. I've done 4 episodes of Done and Gray, I've done Manager Shooting, Recorded Gems, Evolutions. I've done all that. I did a pilot for one that we tested #1 for ABC, and they didn't pick it up. So probably the biggest disappointment in my life. It was out in 2005. You can go online and see it. It's a very funny. It's called Bobby Cannon. You go to Bobby Cannon pilot. It'll come up on the internet. You can see it. And Kate Walsh is in there. So she had private practice right over the ring with Rocky Tails in it. He plays my agent. Bobby Cannon is I play a quarterback at the end of his career. And but it's written by Barry Kemp. Barry Kemp created Coach. He created Bob Newhart series, Norm MacDonald series, very good writer. And it's pretty fun. And I think an NFL draft, I think learning about alignment and protecting so the quarterback is kind of there. They drafted 22-year-old stud out of Texas A&M, rookie quarterback. I was on my days numbered. So it's pretty fun. Why? What would have been 8 years, but there's a lot of politics in Hollywood for whatever reason. It doesn't necessarily be because of mine, whatever. It could be because they thought somebody else their slot, whatever. But we were the #1 tested pilot from that year, and they couldn't pick us up. To me, it's still shocking.
Do we have any questions? We're going to open up to the audience for questions. Anybody have any questions for Sorbo? Please raise your hand. Anybody, don't be nervous. Oh, there we go.
One of my favorite episodes of Hercules is the dancing episode. I want to know how much fun or how old was it for you to shoot?
Fancy Free. Love that episode. Love that episode. We introduced Michael Harris going into drag, playing the Widow Frankie, which was based on his mother. We saw him doing a play, and we said we got to put that character in there. And he directed that one, actually. Michael directed that one as well. There's a great shot of him. He's got the wig on. He's got all the makeup on, the earrings, my fake boobs. And he's directing me in a serious way. And I'm looking down, I was laughing. They took the set. I took some ballroom dancing classes that night, and we incorporated that with the fight dancing at the very end. But that's what made that show fun, was the humor in that. And what I remember most about that is we had lived a lot. Mike and I would sit down and see, not to take away from the writers again, but the writers were in LA. We're down 9,000 miles away in New Zealand. And so there were scenes that would happen. We'd go, you know, it'd be funny that we said this here or say there, or maybe you said my line, and I said your line, and we flip around. And in that episode, it was supposed to be the girl trying to looks at me and says, we gotta get you a new outfit. Well then, I said tonight, this is how I play out. Says it was Will Train, boys, have to get a new outfit. And I said, well, this is all I've ever worn. He goes, I know, I'm sick of it. Because it was 3.5 seasons of me wearing the same 12-pound leather pants, running and doing my kicks and fights in those 12-pound pants. And it was such a funny year. And I have that outfit. It was a great outfit. Naira Dixon was our costume designer. And she also the singer was from Zena and Young Hercules that always showed. She won the Oscar. She was up with 2 Oscars that third year of Lord of the Rings. She did all the Lord of the Rings. So she was up for Lord of the Rings and for The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. So she was up for 2. She ended up winning. She won that year. Amazing award. I mean, talk about, I mean, sometimes I look at these shows and they're like costume designer, and it's like a current show, and I go, that's just best shopper. It's not designing that on my suit, so. But what I was doing, she was designer, and, 6'1", so she was great. And I had those five sets of pants. Because after 2 episodes, they had to switch and bring the next one. Because all the fights, the sweat, and the running around, there's 3 layers of leather. Where we start, you get the hot one. But as Universal said, it looks good, they like the way it looks, so. But they don't want a toga, they don't want to do, that's why they shot New Zealand. They don't want to have a sword and sandal thing, They want a different kind of Hercules. But that's what we do.
Is it hard balancing an acting career with your faith?
No, not really, because it's kind of always with me, right? I mean, the faith is always there. So, most of the sets where I'm now, there's a prayer before, ahead of time, every day we shoot. We don't force anybody to be there. We don't force anybody to say we tell people we have a prayer before we shoot today. You can join us, you don't have to join us. There's no judgment thing of that, so. But no, I've never had a problem with that at all. I've been a Christian my whole life. I got to tell you, I think an interesting story to that. When I was 13 years old, I grew up in Minnesota. The Billy Graham Foundation, we had a huge base not only in Dallas, but they got one in Minneapolis for decades. And so our church took like 13 buses to see them at the St. Paul Fairgrounds. I think Texas and Minnesota are 2 biggest state fairs in the country, they're massive. And at this night, outdoors, a hot August night, because yes, it gets hot in Minnesota, okay? We don't have penguins. I was home last summer for a week now. We had 5 days in a row, 101 degrees. It was toasty. But wait till February, it's 20 below. But, so it was outside, full moon, and there was like 300,000 people. It was amazing. And after Billy Graham spoke, I was 13 years old. He says, I got a lot of volunteers and they want to come down here. And for some reason, something no one would do, I went down. I was going to talk to one volunteer. So I'm sitting on the ground with this guy, who's talking. And he was like 35 years old, I was 13, so 35, he was some big old dude. I'm just 35 in a heartbeat right now. And all of a sudden, a hand went on my head, and I turned around, and it was Billy Graham. And his head was, the moon was perfectly like, right behind his head, so it was like these waves. And we had a nice little chat and talking and prayed for me, but talk about something that's going to be hugely influential at that sort of moment. I told that story to Larry King one time. This years later, obviously, after even Hercules was done. And Chicken Soup for the Soul was doing a hardcover book on Billy Graham's life. They all do 101 stories, right? Chicken Soup for the Soul. Always paperback. They would do a hardcover only for Billy Graham. And they called me up and said, the story you said you do on Larry King, will you do that in the book? And I said, well, you know. So I wrote the story. These stories like 3 pages long or something. And they called me up later and I said, Reverend Graham's in his 90s, he can't really get around. He loves what you're doing, what you stand for. Would you go around and do the publicity in the book on a talk show? We'll take care of it, fly around him. And I said, yeah, are you kidding me? So that was pretty cool. That's something like that. That was pretty amazing. I've got that book at home with his autograph in there, which is pretty amazing.
Great question. Anybody here this century?
Exodus, Patterns of Evidence. That was my first documentary. That was Tim Mahoney. Tim Mahoney is a fellow Minnesota. He spent 10 years in Egypt through archaeological digs to prove the Exodus actually happened. And it was fascinating. And that was the first time, that was like, it's got to be, I don't know, 9 years ago now that I did it. It was a while ago. He's going to be at the Rise Up Con. Tim Mahoney and his company's going to be there. I just did another documentary with him. It's not out yet, but I got to play Thomas Jefferson in the documentary. So I played George Washington twice now, and I played Abe Lincoln in a comedy. It's pretty funny. So I've done two presidents so far this time. But it's a really good documentary. But that kind of got me going on to do more documentaries. On the plane actually coming out of there, I saw one of the Linda Round stuff I thought was pretty good. I like documentaries, they're educationally interesting. So that one sort of set the tone for me. I said I want to do more of these. And he's done a bunch since then. He's done a couple series of it. And this next one's coming out soon next year. It's really good on fun.
This gentleman, Sharon.
I know that you stream
I hope we can think about behind. I don't know. I know Dallas has this season, I think 2 more seasons on The Chosen because his father's dead. So when he's done, I would guess 4 years from now, you're going to start seeing he's going to do what he did with The Chosen with the Left Behind books. So he'll make it more of a television, ongoing miniseries, you know. On each one, about 8 books with it or something like that. So we'll probably do 8 to 10 episodes of each book and move on. So I know, and make 8 seasons like that. So I know that's the next thing. The people that own the rights to that, up in Toronto, in Canada, they took film rights for the books for like 25 years now. Started with Kurt Cameron initially. So I know they're going to keep, I know they've talked about doing the next one, but I haven't really heard anything from the company up there yet. What's going on?
Does somebody have a question? Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Talk into the mic. Get the mic closer.
Okay. Well, I noticed something that they were doing in your series of Hercules. The mother of monsters, she was always on tail and did several different things, and they always had her come back. Well, basically, taking your daughters, and y'all always were fighting back and forth. And finally, you set free her husband. So, give me a second to look this. After you did that, they had a child, but before he came home, she's like, why did it take her so long for y'all to reconcile?
I have no idea. I remember the characters, but my kids, I'll walk in sometimes about an episode on, and I can remember every episode in its entirety. I can't remember what this episode was about, but I'm watching myself talking in that scene that's happening right now, and I'm watching my kids, and I'm going, that's me talking, but I know you're doing that. I've done so many things since the show. This one guy came up to me, he had a pole like 8 inches thick, and he opens it up. He goes, in episode 78 of Indiana, the question he asked, I think it was like 5 minutes long, and I just sat there and waited till he was done. And he was done, he looked up and I said, blue. Oh, I thought you asked my favorite color was. I was like, dude, I don't remember that. Like, what was so funny, the Tribune company that owned Andromeda, they actually sent these 2 guys up there. So every panel we got, on a main cat, the main room where we're going to Slipstream, they had all these different buttons, and they made them write down what each button was. There's hundreds of buttons on all these different panels. And they wanted us to memorize that, and I always laughed. And I walked up and I said, how about if I do this? And the ship goes in the Slipstream. That's all I gotta do. I don't have to memorize which button. The audience doesn't know. Then I look at it and go, well, who touched the eject button? You didn't press the button. I said, you paid me. We all laughed at it. We thought, that was a stupid waste of money. So is this a government program? You know, one of my Ronald Reagan's favorite quotes is, these are the words to fear. Hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Any other questions, guys? Any final questions?
In your movie, you get the Spartans. My favorite part is whenever you crossed and throw your anger, you said, I don't know what
That was an ad-lib. They kept it in the movie. I also have to Hercules in every movie I do. So, there's a great scene in Miracle, Texas, with the same thing. This guy's overlooking this document to sign over basically his life and he's to live off yet another guy. And we had the goddess Petroniumitis or something, the goddess. He was never heard of that. He said, the only one I've ever heard of is Hercules. And I said, oh, you were the good one. And we kept it in there.
All right, guys, we're about to wrap up this channel. Kevin, any final thoughts?
Eat your vegetables. Thanks, guys. God bless you all.
Guys, just a reminder, Kevin will be having a VIP Kevin Sorbo experience that will be happening when the middle room closes at 7. It's called the Kevin Sorbo VIP experience. We will be watching his favorite episode of Hercules, and afterwards, he's going to be doing a private meet and greet with every single one of the fans in there, as well as getting exclusive 11x14 print, as well as several pictures. So it's an $85 charge. It's at registration if you want to sign up for it. We'll talk about some more fun things that we usually talk about on Fridays. And yeah, like I said, guys, once again, give them a round of applause for coming out.